All right. Exit out there. Now, if I type the end, notice that if I type end, it takes me all the way back out to privilege exec here. So it completely exits the configuration mode. Let me go ahead and do that again here. So I type configuration terminal, so configure terminal, and then from here I do interface VLAN 1, and I'm at config-if. If I type exit, it takes me back one step on this ladder here, back down to the config prompt. And then from there, if I type exit again, it would take me all the way out. Let's go back in, interface VLAN 1. So back here again, if I type end, which we just saw a few seconds ago, if I type end, it takes me all the way back here. You can also shortcut that by hitting Control-Z, which is equivalently the same as typing end. All right, so anytime you make a change on the configuration, usually a good idea to save your configuration. So we want to go through the process of actually saving this. So I do want to show you that command, which would be copy running-config space startup-config and enter. And it asks you the question, do you want to save this as startup config? If you hit Y here, yes, I'd like to save it as startup config. No, what you're really doing here is you've just changed this, the command here, to copy running config space Y. So it's going to save a file in Flash called Y that's going to have your running config in it, which means when you reboot this box, it's not going to boot up and it's going to put you in setup script mode and things won't be working properly. So just accept the defaults by hitting enter here and it'll work fine. Now there's another way to save this. Now this is an old school command. Before Cisco came out with the copy commands, there were commands called write. And you could do several different write commands, write erase, which is the equivalent of erase startup config, and write network and write terminal. But write memory is the exact same thing as typing this command here. Copy run start. So the copy running config startup config command used to be write memory. And Cisco's been warning for many years that they were going to get rid of the write mem commands, and all of us, Cisco experts, if you will, have been, threatening seriously that, we'll be very angry if they ever get rid of the write commands because we've been using them for years. And there's one other advantage to the write memory command. It doesn't ask you if it's the startup config file. It just goes ahead and does it. You can also shorten this all the way down to WR because memory is the default. So if I just type write, which would be here, again, I can shorten it down to just WR and hit enter. I'm now saving my configuration. So I get in the habit, whenever I'm in configuration mode and I type something, I hit Control-Z and then WR to save my configuration. It's definitely a good habit to be in. Every time you make a change, go ahead and save your config. All right, so there was one more thing I forgot to do with respect to my IP address configuration, and that is I needed to set a default gateway. So I'm going to go back in to configuration mode. The default gateway, coincidentally, is configured on a switch at the config prompt, not at the interface. So the command there is IP default-gateway. In this case, we need to point over to our router here, 192.168.10.254, and I'm pretty sure that's right, but I'm going to double check this on my PC since my PC is also using the same gateway. To do that, I'm going to open up the command prompt, and actually this command prompt is set up with a little trickery here. Let me show you how I built this shortcut. Actually, I'll build the shortcut from scratch. Go ahead and go to New and Shortcut, and the reason I do this is because I type this so many times, the command prompt, and every time, maybe not every time, but probably 95% of the time, the second I type command.exe from a run command, the very next command I type is ipconfig all. So what I do is I create a shortcut for it. For a command, I do a /k, which means keep the window open and then execute the following command. So then ipconfig all is the next command I put in. So I'll go ahead and next, and sure, that's fine. All right, so it created a shortcut here. It's the same thing this thing did. I just wanted to walk through it. If you double-click this, it now opens up and then runs the ipconfig for you, puts you at C prompt, and you're ready to go. Oftentimes, you'll see that I've taken this and I've dropped it down to the quick launch bar in Windows here so that I can just one-click button. I've got my ipconfig ready to go here, and I can see what's going on. So I usually take these and throw them away. Okay, so now I've got a quick launch command, and I was really looking for the default gateway address, which was 254. Okay, so back to PuTTY. And 254 was the right address. Okay.